Alright guys, welcome to Spike Gaming. So usually I do post up walkthrough videos. Today we're not talking about video games. Today's topic is trading card games. Now I was born in 1989, so like most of you 90s kids, I was also into collecting things like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Matter of fact, when it comes to these two intellectual properties, I still have all my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and I still have all of my Pokemon cards. Like, I'm not kidding. I still have all my Pokemon cards. I have booster boxes worth of Pokemon cards, like tons. By the way, I'm selling a lot of these, so if you'd like to expand your Pokemon card collection, eBay, Spike Gaming, a lot of these cards are going to be on sale. As much as I liked collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! And I actually played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Back when I was a kid, all the way up to high school, I never really played the Pokemon trading card game. And later on, actually, when I got to college, I didn't really play a lot of trading card games, and I was really more into video games. And one of the games that I really got into was Warcraft 3, and I really got into the Warcraft lore to the point where I was actually reading a lot of the novels. I was reading things like Day of the Dragon and Lord of the Clans and some of the other books that were out at the time. I wanted to get into World of Warcraft, the game, but unfortunately at the time I didn't really have the funds to pay the monthly fee to be able to play the game. However, something that I actually did get deeply into, even though eventually I did play the World of Warcraft online game, one of the things that I really got into like heavily was the Warcraft trading card game, and I actually have like a lot of these cards, and we're going to go ahead and actually just sort of go through the different card varieties, because the thing about the World of Warcraft trading card game is that it actually doesn't exist anymore, at least not in that it existed back when I was deeply into it. Now the version of the trading card game that exists is no longer physical cards, but rather they're digital, and you might have actually played it, and I know you've probably heard of it, and that's the game Hearthstone. And as you'll see, there's actually a lot of similarities between Hearthstone and the physical World of Warcraft trading card game. And we'll go into, you'll see right now when I go through the different card types that exist in the game. So the main focus of the trading card game is this. It's the hero card. Your whole objective is to get your opponent's hero cards, like hit points, all the way down to 0. So here we have an Alliance hero, so you can see right there. And his hit points are 30. So the whole objective, that this was your opponent's card, would be to drop that down to 0. Also, here we have his class, which is a warrior, meaning he can only use equipment that is allowed to be used by warriors, warrior abilities, and so on. Right. What we have here is you have like your hero's ability. You pay that amount of resources here 1, and it gives them this specific ability. But the whole point here is to drop your opponent's hit points to 0. This is one example of the hero card. Now, your hero really can't do anything until he's gotten some equipment. So if you have no equipment cards in your deck, you're going to be relying solely on your allies. However, it's good to get your deck filled with some equipment, and this is what the equipment cards were. Here on the upper left-hand corner, we have the cost of the equipment. Down here, we have the damage. Over here, we have how many resources you needed to use in order to use the equipment. And here it shows you what classes could use this specific equipment. Now, here I have 2 examples of equipment cards. Here we have our like a weapon, and over here we have armor. Now, aside from equipment cards, you also have abilities that can be used by your heroes. This card here can pretty much be used by any kind of hero class. As you can see, there's nothing up here indicating, like a restriction as far as what heroes can, or what hero classes can and cannot use the ability. Here you have the cost of the ability and the effect, but the hero cards are usually purple. This is an example of one hero card that you would see in the trading card game, and I think this is from the later set, because when the World of Warcraft trading card came out initially, it was released by Upper Deck. However, later on, they were released by a company called Cryptozoic. This is an example of a later card from Cryptozoic. As you can see, the first card I showed you, the hero card, is from the very first set of WoW trading cards that were released. And the set was Heroes of Azeroth. This was an uncommon hero, as indicated down here by the green text. But that is from the Heroes of Azeroth set. Also, your hero wasn't expected just to do battle on his own, depending on what faction you were fighting as, either Alliance or Horde. There was also cards that were called Allies. I believe Hearthstone has their own variations. I don't know. I haven't really played Hearthstone. But this is the World of Warcraft trading card game. These are allies right here. So you can see here we have an alliance ally and one horde ally. You could not mix and match, obviously. But that's just an example of these cards. This one here was from the Dark Portal set, and this one, it says drums. I don't remember specifically what booster pack set that was from. I'm sure it wasn't just called drums, it was called something else. But that's just what these cards were. And in order to, as you can see right here, those numbers on top, those resource numbers 6 and 2, in order to bring out like allies or use abilities or even pay for equipment, you had to pay a resource cost. Now usually resource cards would just be like a regular hero card. It'd be flipped face down on the field to indicate that it was being used as a resource, or you could use a quest as a resource and just leave it face up. This is a quest card. Now completing a quest would be something like here. This quest would be on your turn, pay 2 resources to complete this quest, and then once you pay those 2 resources, you'd be able to use your quest reward. Now normally you would use your quest cards as your resources and then just leave them like that face up until you completed the quest reward. There was also another form of card which I do have an example of, but I didn't want to pull it out at the moment. And this other card is called a loot card, and what it is, usually it would come in the form of like, you know, just any other card, but instead down here in the like effect or you know, this little text box, it would have a scratch off code. You would scratch it off and it would give you some sort of in-game reward in your actual World of Warcraft account. For instance, I actually still have one Sand Scarab loot card. If you scratch that out, I believe you get like a Sand Scarab pet in the World of Warcraft trading card game. Other cards came out, like you'd have cards that were loot cards that were like materials, like you could get gold or like, you know, some other copper or some material that you would need in game to craft something. That usually would come in the booster packs. I don't know how common they are anymore. I know you can still find some loot cards, which some of them actually still sell for a lot of money on eBay. I've seen some loot cards on there for as high as $50, and I think there was like a mount. I don't remember what it was, the Spectral Tiger or something like that was like worth at least a couple $100 when it originally came out. I don't know if it's worth anything nowadays. Yeah, that's the World of Warcraft trading card game. It was originally released in 2006 by Upper Deck Entertainment, and later on, and they released the sets all the way up until March 2010 when they lost the license from Blizzard, after which it then went to Cryptozoic, as I mentioned earlier. However, eventually Blizzard decided that they no longer wanted the trading card game, and they went ahead and discontinued the game around the same time that they released Hearthstone. And Hearthstone actually uses a lot of the same art. Now, one of my rarest cards that I had, and unfortunately I lost, was Leroy Jenkins. And when you look at, if you Google Leroy Jenkins artwork in the World of Warcraft trading card game, and then look at the Leroy Jenkins artwork used in Hearthstone, you see it is the exact same art. They didn't change it. It's basically, they just transferred everything from the physical card game into the digital card game. One of my complaints, however, is that whenever you play a Yu-Gi-Oh video game, there's these little codes on the bottom of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you could enter in. I don't know about the newer Yu-Gi-Oh video games, but in older video games, you could enter that code and you would unlock that card within the video game. But no such mechanic exists for the World of Warcraft trading card game. And I get it, you know, they want you to spend real money in-game to unlock cards in Hearthstone, but I think it would have been cool for someone, you know, such as myself, who spent a lot of money amassing a pretty large collection of WoW trading cards, to be able to at least bring in some of these cards into Hearthstone, you know, because I don't really play it. I think I might have played it for like an hour and decided it wasn't really for me. I prefer the physical game, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, this is just a quick introduction to into what the World of Warcraft trading card game was. Go ahead if you're interested in learning more about the World of Warcraft trading card game. I do still have an open product. These are some of the later products that came out during Cryptozoic. This is a class starter deck. It's a Horde Warrior deck. The whole deck would then be geared towards, you know, anyone who wants to play as a warrior character within the Horde. However, they added another thing later on, and this is around the time that I stopped playing. As I mentioned, I started playing this in college. I was playing it with my friends. However, around the time that a lot of them started leaving college, some of them were dropping out or just decided it wasn't for them. I didn't really have that many people to sort of continue playing with, so I got more into collecting. So around the time that I stopped playing, they actually introduced decks where you weren't either Horde or Alliance, but rather you were playing as, I guess, like the monsters. So here we have a champion deck, and it's a monster deck instead of Horde or Alliance. Now, I haven't actually ever seen what those cards look like, because that's around the time that I got out of the game. And at that point, my collecting became more for the purpose of collecting, because I actually really do like the Warcraft like intellectual property. So around the time that I started getting these, it was more about just collecting it and having it than actually playing the game. So I've actually never played with the monster, faction or monster cards, and I've never actually seen what they look like. So I'll be cool. And I actually have a full booster box, as you can see here, Upper Deck Entertainment, still sealed, of the first set of boosters that were released, and that's the Heroes of Azeroth set, which is, I believe, the set that Leroy Jenkins comes in. So I lost my original Leroy Jenkins card. I'm hoping I can get myself another Leroy Jenkins, because when I lost, that was my favorite card. That I actually have three. There's I forget. I have not been around. I haven't been using these cards in a while, but one of them's like, he's like a mage. His last name's Dude Fella. I like that card. I have him put away. And then I have another one, War Chief Thrall, which is another one of my favorite cards. And then it was Leroy Jenkins. So hopefully I can pull another Leroy Jenkins out of this booster box. If we can, perfect. Next video we're going to do is going to be an unboxing of these, and we're going to be going into the World of Warcraft raid decks. I have an unopened Icecrown Citadel raid deck set. We might be opening that up sometime in the future, because everything's still within its packaging. It's got a few of the more well-known heroes, such as Jaina Proudmoore in there, and villains such as the Lich King. It's got a Lich King deck in there. And so in later videos, we'll go ahead and we'll go through the raid deck boxes. But if you're interested in seeing more about the World of Warcraft trading card game, maybe it's something you want to start collecting, check out our next video. We're going to be doing an unboxing. Like what you see, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know, did you enjoy collecting World of Warcraft trading cards? Do you still have them? And if you do, fuck it, man. Hit me up on our Instagram, Spike Gaming, and let's talk about World of Warcraft trading card game, because honestly, I still like it. I'm still collecting it. I'm probably one of the only nerds out there who's still super enthusiastic about this game. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of people who are still collecting it, but I'm still super enthusiastic. I still really like this shit. Anyway, peace.